السلام عليكم ورحمة الله تعالى وبركاته. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم، وأفضل الصلاة وأتم التسليم على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم. Welcome to the Muslim Founders Podcast. Today we're joined another episode with Zakaria Jama, the founder of Safar, a Muslim travel advisory app. Zakaria, how are you today?
Alhamdulillah, I'm very well, man. Alhamdulillah, thank you for bringing me here.
It's a pleasure having you on, Zakaria. I saw the progress made on social media, reached out. It seemed like a pretty interesting idea, and very thankful to have you on again.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you.
Zakaria, before we go deep into Safar and the more tech scene, why don't you just give us a brief background of yourself? How you grew up, how you got into this, and where do you see yourself going?
All right, I am Zakaria Jama. I graduated from UCL, a university in the heart of London, with a degree in chemical engineering. And to be honest, who I am, I'm just a boy from South London, that just had a lot of ideas that felt like I really wanted to make an impact using my skills. And a lot of it was just I wanted to create something where I had a product that really reflected who I was and my interests, whilst also trying to benefit people. So at the heart of who I am, I'm just a man that just wants to make life easier for Muslims.
And
And yeah, so I grew up in South London. Alhamdulillah, I grew up in an area called Greenwich, and there wasn't that many Muslims, to be honest, in school. I was literally one of a few Muslims. And then slowly, like going into college, I don't know how it works in the American school system, but we leave high school, then we go into college, then we go to university. So when
college
I
is like
went to
that 2 years,
school,
right?
yeah, it's called sixth
Uh,
form.
okay.
Most of the time it's called sixth form. And in that time, that's when I got properly close to my deen, because I made a lot of good friends, alhamdulillah, that were Muslim, which I didn't
Mm-hmm.
really have prior. And then from there, I realized that I could, that's when I started getting ideas just from a young age. And I was really interested in maths, physics, but I was also interested in technology. At the time, people that done computer science during college years, they didn't really do well.
Yeah.
So I had friends that done computer science that got like D's and stuff like that. However, they were very talented and they were very smart. I believe that they were smarter than I was. So I didn't think it was a good option for me to do computer science at the time, even though it was something that I was very interested in. And I just went through a route where I chose more of the physics route, the chemistry route, and the maths route. And that's what made me want to do chemical engineering, because I felt that I could help my own people by maybe going back home and using my chemical engineering degree. Actually, yeah, I mean, I was 16, 17 years old, and I thought, oh, maybe I could help my own country with my own chemical engineering degree. Later, when I was actually doing the degree, I thought, okay, this is actually a lot harder than I thought. So I thought, hold on. What made me like consider technology was that I saw other people that done engineering that went into technology. And because I felt like it was something that I was interested, like as a kid, I was watching, I don't know if you know, like everything Apple Pro. I was watching all this like WWDC conferences. I was very
Yeah.
interested in
Very
technology.
techy, huh?
Yeah, I was very interested in technology. I'll be honest. I just really wanted to like open phones and stuff like that. I wouldn't say like coding yet, even though I knew a little bit of Python, but I knew during my university that I really enjoyed technology, and I saw that there was an opportunity of going into tech. So I thought that was something that reflected me more rather than chemical engineering.
Mm.
So yeah, I done a lot of boot camps, and yeah, alhamdulillah, I got trained into becoming a software engineer. So that's my story of becoming, um, my story in tech. And it's not an ending. Like the story hasn't ended. I'm still on my journey, I'm still progressing. Suffer is it's just part of my journey. So yeah, that's just a little overview of my academic journey.
So
But
before
from
we
here
go,
on, yeah,
before we go into like Safar and why you created it,
yeah,
I just wanted to get your mindset in during college or university. You were, you were taking chemical or mechanical engineering, and it's more when you take those courses, it's more sometimes it's more theoretical if you don't do like hands-on project, right? Like the
yeah.
theories. And it seems like you personally were attracted to the software world either by, YouTubers like what's that guy's name? Like Brownlee, Marcus Brownlee or something
Yeah,
like doing
Marcus,
those.
man, you know that, yeah.
Yeah. And you saw maybe more of a practical application in software. But where was that switch when you were like, okay, perhaps I don't want to go down the hardware route. I want to go in the software route.
Okay. So the switch for me was that I've done a lot of self-reflection. I wanted to see what I would be doing in 10 years' time.
Hmm.
And with chemical engineering, I was just seeing the people like the alumni, what were they doing? And majority of them were doing consulting. They didn't go into chemical engineering. And this wasn't the research that I was doing at 16 years old. At 16 years old, this is when I was picking my university. At 16 years old, all I wanted was to just align my studies with my university degree. I didn't know what I was going to do after that. I didn't know what life is as a chemical engineer. If you ask me what chemical engineer is, I don't know. 16 years old. So when I was in my degree, I was looking at the alumni, they were doing consulting, and I realized that being an actual chemical engineer isn't like practical for me as a Muslim, because at the time I believed that I done an internship. Actually, I done an internship in a place called Warrington. It's it's in the outskirts of Manchester. It's in like a
Yeah.
little, and it wasn't the best like place to raise a family. That's
Mm.
essentially my point. It wasn't the best place for me to raise a family. And I realized that chemical engineering wasn't for me, because as a Muslim man that wants to be in his deen, that wants to raise a family, wants to do this, I don't think I can do it in a place where I'm light skinned. Like I was the darkest person there. Like
You're light
there
skin?
was no
Like a
one,
light skinned
yeah,
Somali?
yeah, I'm a light skinned Somali, and
Yeah.
like there's no other color.
Yeah,
It was
yeah,
just
yeah.
me that was
Uh,
color. Um, and I didn't like feel at home there, because I didn't see people that looked like me. I didn't
yeah,
see
yeah.
people that had the same religion as me. Actually, I only met one Yemeni guy, and I was so happy that I saw him, because it felt like there was at least a bit of representation, like of me. You know what I mean? So I felt as though that chemical engineering wasn't for me, not because that I didn't like the idea of being like an engineer. An engineer has its pros and cons, but it was more so the lifestyle and raising a family. That was the big thing
Mm.
for me. And what made me consider software engineering was that I had to pick my options. A lot of people went into consulting. However, for me, consulting wasn't something that was very hands-on, that allowed me to use the things that I've learned. Like I'm a STEM degree student. I've got a master's in chemical engineering, and I felt like it would be a waste if I went into consulting,
You're like,
because a
it's
lot
more
of
like
it
a
is
business
client
aspect.
facing. Yeah, a lot of it is
Mm.
client facing, and that's not something that represents who I am. And then I saw um there was someone that graduated before me that went into tech, and I saw it was possible. So when I saw it was possible, that's when I thought, okay, let me take the calculated risk of just graduating, not having a graduate role yet, because a lot of people have the graduate role. Just finish uni and then just take time to reflect on yourself and pick what I really wanted to do. I knew I wanted to do tech, but what in tech? Tech is very broad. You could do data analysis, you can do software engineering, you can do like so many different other stuff. So I wanted to take time to know what I really wanted to do. And what made me pick software engineering was that I felt as though I could build something. I could create programs. I can create something that really reflects me. I can use my problem solving skills, my innovation. I can like do something creative, something that was that's like that's that game changing. You know what I mean?
Mm.
So I felt that software engineering was the specific thing that I really wanted to get onto because that was something that I really think that I could progress in. And that's just, yeah, the
Yeah.
story of me with
Yeah, it
software
seems,
engineering.
mashallah, when I talk to a lot of just people, regardless if they're Muslim or not, I think they make that switch, in their mind and see that not most often what you study in college doesn't translate a lot to the professional environment. You have to kind of force it. But anyways, you picked this software, right? The thing that I really want to get into and I really admire you for is Safar. As a self-described, Muslim travel advisory app. So tell me how you got into it with your two other co-founders.
Okay, so okay, so how Safar has come about. I had an idea,
Yeah,
and I was okay. Let me start on who I am more so, and my hobbies. I have a lot of hobbies. I have a lot of interests. I love history. I love sports. I love traveling. There's a lot of things I love. I love the gym. I love so many different things. But one thing that was really important to me, if I wanted to create something, I have to create something that really reflects me.
hmm
So one day I was just doodling. I was really doodling, and I don't know if you've like paid attention to the Safar logo, but I created. I was really interested in connectivity, the globe.
yeah,
I was really interested into connectivity in the globe, and I was thinking of something. I wanted to create a project where it really reflects what I'm interested in, but also allows people to connect and like change the life of a Muslim. So as someone that's alhamdulillah, that's gone to 23 different countries, I've thought, okay, I really like traveling. Let me do something within the traveling field. So alhamdulillah, I've traveled to so many different countries. I
like
reflected,
like what? Tell us a bit.
okay, the countries I've traveled within Europe. I've traveled to Canada. I've traveled to the Middle East. Traveled to Africa. I've traveled to Vietnam, China, and
Oh,
China.
that's nice.
Um, yeah, there's so many different countries. Alhamdulillah, at 23 years old. So, and a lot of it was the last three
Oh, better.
years.
Yeah,
So in 2020, I only went to three countries.
because of like the lockdown and
Yeah. And then
yeah,
after lockdown, I went to, and to today, I went to my, so 19 other countries. So
yeah.
alhamdulillah, yeah, that's Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that's giving me the opportunity. So with Safar, I wanted to create a project. Initially, it was a project where just a bit of fun, create something that's linked to traveling. Then I thought, what's my struggles as a Muslim with traveling? It's halal food. So if I ask you, why may have you not gone to country X, let's say Vietnam or something, what would you worry about?
Uh, I would. I don't know. Me, as a young man, I feel pretty confident. I wouldn't be worried about anything. But I think other people, they might, maybe the safety or the culture, or the food, or something like that, right?
Yeah. Okay, that's what a lot of people have said. So let me just sum up a lot of the Muslims, more so
Yeah,
Somalis. With Somalis, we only go to three countries.
yeah,
Maybe one country in Europe, maybe a Dubai, add Saudi to be honest, and Somalia. That's it. That's it. There's no one
yeah,
that it's like a triangle. It's like a isosceles triangle. If you put in the world, that's just where Somalis just travel to.
Yeah.
And I thought that was wrong because we should explore more of the world. Allah
Did you
subhanahu wa
visit
ta'ala,
Minnesota by any chance?
me, that's too many Somalis.
Oh,
That's too many Somalis. Nah, Minnesota sounds like a nice place. I don't know any people. Actually, I've met my, my friends' cousins who are
yeah.
from Minnesota, and they were very cool. So yeah, Minnesota people are very cool. But I have no one that I personally know that I'd
Hmm.
go to Minnesota for. So I haven't gone to Minnesota. I've been to Toronto though.
Okay. There's a lot of Somalis like in the Canada and States, so maybe
Yeah,
add
yeah.
those. Yeah, yeah.
So yeah. Um, but yeah, with UK Somalis, we don't go outside that triangle.
Right.
And I was just speaking to people, get to know why. Why do you not go to so and so, so and so? And just gaining information, it built more of that idea of Safar. Built more of that idea. The ball started to roll. But at the time where I created the idea in my mind, I had no skills. I just graduated from university. I don't even know what HTML is. Like, I had no idea. So this idea that I had in my head, it motivated me more in my software engineering journey. It motivated me to like look at tutorials. How am I supposed to do specific stuff? How do I create a map? How do I do this? How do I do that? I was very interested in specific things in software engineering because of Safar. And yeah, that's when the idea was really coming to life. Before my software engineering journey, I created the logo, and that logo has been the same since day dot. I've never changed it.
Mm.
And if you ask some of my friends, I was always interested in the globe, but I didn't know what to do with it. I didn't know what it was. So, um, yeah, I really stuck with it, and alhamdulillah, it became like the main inspiration of my whole design, the globe. So, alhamdulillah, that's just the initial journey that I'm on. We're still in the beginning,
Yeah.
still very much in the beginning.
So I think what I wanted to talk about right now is you created this kind of vision that you have um a travel advisory app, and in terms of you're making it more Muslim specific, but what were you trying to take the model of? Is there, I know there's like personally I didn't travel that much, but what are the apps right now that people rely on to travel that you try to
That's not.
model it? Yeah,
I didn't look at any app in particular to model it on.
yeah,
There was design from a design perspective. I really liked Airbnb.
yeah.
So if I was to say there was an app that inspired me, it would probably be Airbnb and Get Your Guide. Those are the two apps that really inspired me. But as a Muslim travel advisory app, there weren't any that I really looked at. Like I saw that there may have been a few on the App Store. However, to me, they were very outdated, or they weren't really something that I would personally use.
Mm.
So,
So
um,
it was more of you saw an opportunity that you know sometimes there is this thing like they have these small apps, but it's not efficient, and you think like there's
yeah,
room in the market for, right?
exactly. And I just wanted something that looked well in design, that had a lot of connectivity, that had a lot of um creativity, that had a lot of um like easy to use. Software is designed for everyone
Mm.
of all ages, of all whether you're a university student, whether you have a family of four, whether you're like a grandma, like anybody. Is about accessibility. It's so simple that anybody can use. So um yeah, I didn't really see that in other apps. I saw like there's not really other apps to be honest, but my inspiration was Airbnb and Get Your Guide. I think those are two very beautiful apps. So yeah.
Okay, inshallah. And when you're pitching this to your fellow friends or potential users, You're saying, okay, so and so, you want to travel soon. This is what we're gonna give you. We're gonna give you halal food. What you're talking about? You also mentioned you want to build a community, but what what are the core benefits in your sales pitch that you're giving to people?
So with Safar, the main thing, well, a lot of people think the main thing is the halal food. The halal food is
Because they're
just,
hungry, yeah?
uh, yeah, man.
Yeah.
When a lot of people travel just to eat,
Oh,
just to eat. Like the first thing that someone asked me why I was
yeah.
going, my cousin, first thing that she asked me, why am I going to Vietnam? Like, how are you going to eat?
Yeah.
How are you going to eat?
Or
I
they,
was
they
like,
think like you eat like cats or something there?
oh no, like, I was like,
Mhm.
food, imagine in Vietnam, there was a Senegalese man that gave me Egyptian food. The whole place was like Egyptian food. And like, it was run by like, I think, uh, it was an Arab family, and the guy that was working was Senegalese, and we were just speaking to him, and it was amazing, man. I was like people wouldn't believe this. I'm in Vietnam. I'm eating Arab food. There's like so many different Africans here. Like it's amazing. Like there's so many different Muslims, and I was thinking, I was just laughing at the comment that my cousin made. Like, how are you going to eat? Alhamdulillah, I'm eating very well. I had amazing food.
Mm.
Yeah, yeah,
So I think when people how successful usually, whether it's a company or a product or a project, how they usually start is the person experiences the problem themselves, and they have the most relation. It's personal, so they want to offer a solution or an alternative. And in this moment, you're traveling, whether it's Vietnam or any of the other 23 countries. You're saying, you want to share the experience with others. I think what I want to steer the conversation is most of your journey has been natural. You deal with something, you try to offer the solution, rather than pursue an artificial path or an artificial company. You're trying to force the idea out of nowhere. Do you find that when it's more natural, it's easier to make that progress?
yes, 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 yes. Um, I was talking a lot about the halal food, but the Safar has a lot of other things. So, for example, get your guide. If you look at stuff and get your guide for like itineraries and stuff, I personally experienced that there wasn't a lot of Muslim friendly things. For example, there was a lot of activities that included happy hour,
Yeah,
happy
yeah,
hour,
yeah.
which is an hour where
The alcohol
people are
and stuff like
drinking and
that.
stuff,
Yeah,
and then you feel very isolated as a Muslim. So with Safar, a lot of it is just itinerary, is an itinerary planner for you to do everything, um, to plan out your day, but also keep it halal at the same time, where you don't have to encounter all these different type of stuff. You can see specific landmarks or like mountain ranges, etc., without the worry of you having to um, go against your religion. So, Alhamdulillah, from my personal experience, I felt that that was very important. It's more important than the food for me. I think the food is the more fuller feature, but the
yeah.
more important feature is the itinerary planner for you to actually just say, okay, this day I'm going to do this, that. And I know I'm not going to bump into problem X, problem Y, problem Z. So that's where I felt like the app really resonated for me as a Muslim traveler.
So when you're creating that, how do you manage to, for example, if you're traveling to a country like, I don't know, Mongolia, for example, how do you
Okay.
manage to get the activities? Do you use like an API? Because there's so many things to do, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
To
So
like
what
offer
we done,
suggestions.
yeah. So what we done, we created a whole database, a whole API, and we literally just filtered through every single country and all it has to offer, and what we believe would like is under like allowed under Islam.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Let's say if you want to go to Mongolia, obviously I don't remember specific things in Mongolia.
You can ride a
But
horse, right?
yeah, you can ride a horse. You can like live in huts and
Yeah,
like, yeah, I mean, go archery or like, yeah, I mean, do cultural stuff, like as long as it doesn't go against Islam.
yeah.
Like, the big
The what?
fur
Yeah,
coat
yeah,
that they wear, which is
yeah.
sick, yeah, or the swords or, all of that stuff. So, um, yeah, the app really just looks at activities and makes sure that it doesn't go against Islam. And it's just a database that we created.
Wow,
So
mashallah.
it's just
And
filtering through everything.
yeah, it's really unique. And have you thought? Obviously, you're in the beta phase, right? You're getting signups, and for anybody watching, I encourage you to try it out. But when you're looking to the future, do you see yourself maybe selling this obviously to the consumer as a B2C product, but do you also see this as like you're offering this to tourist companies or like people who travel in groups to make stuff easier? Or how do you see the future of this product going?
Well, inshallah, there's a lot of plans for the future. Right now, is as you said, is in the beta phase. It's very, very early. We just want to create the project and actually get it like in the hands of the user. But for
Right.
the future, inshallah, it's just um being able to connect with different tourist industries, different companies, allowing people to book through the app. So like at the moment, you're not able to book through an app. Yeah, it'll give you halal options, but the beta, it makes you go to get your guide to book the specific thing.
Mm,
So
okay.
the future of Safar, inshallah, is that you'll be able to plan your itinerary and book through it as well.
Like hotels and everything.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So you can
Mm.
book your whole holiday through Safar.
Oh, that's really good.
So that, inshallah, that's what the plan is for the future. But as of right now, it's just getting that idea there,
Yeah, yeah.
just pushing it and like adding as much features as we can at the moment. Right now, it's just the halal food, the dhikr. That was inspired by an app, my personal favorite app. I don't know if you have it. It's called Dhikr and Dua.
There's a lot of them.
It's, it's you need to download that, man. It's
Yeah.
an amazing app. It has like the design of it is beautiful and everything. Um, and the dhikr and I mean the dua section that for us was inspired just to be able to quickly access du'as for traveling. So yeah,
Mm.
those are the main features: the itinerary builder, du'as, masjid, which isn't out yet, but is in
Oh, yeah.
development. So just being able to find masjids anywhere in the world, depending on your locations. And yeah, obviously, yeah, that's the main features. Everything else, inshallah, will try add it to the beta. I mean, to the full app.
I really like the idea. It's like maybe the all-in-one comprehensive go-to for like a Muslim whenever they want to travel, inshallah, and may Allah make it
Mhm.
successful.
I mean,
Obviously, when you're talking about traveling, there's a lot of, a lot of people do it for leisure, but on the other side, there's a lot of wisdom and experience you can gain from traveling, right? Yeah, mashallah. I want to get more into the last part of the app where you wanted to make it more of a community than an app. What's
yeah.
is it a tactic to drive growth or to keep people more engaged? What was the reasoning behind that?
So as of right now, there isn't really more of like a speed, but what that for me, the what the original plan was, like to have in Safar was like a whole feed where you can post pictures, etc. But we kind of altered
Oh,
that
like the social media.
for,
Yeah.
yeah, like a social media. But we altered that because we believed that it was driving away from the main concept of being a
Mm,
travel advisory app. So we stuck to reviews, which is a big thing, where under every single traction, there is more of a detailed review, being able to post pictures, commenting under it, liking it, like explaining your time there, and creating. community, or how I'd say, is just being able to put in different, because the database is designed by us, we added a feature where you could put in your own recommendations. Let's say there isn't something on the app, because we filter it through, there's different recommendations or things that really like other users really liked, and it would be like we'd add it on the app and it would be like inspired by user this person, so they can create their own itineraries.
I
You
see that.
can have like hot itinerary plans. So let's say country X, there's already a built itinerary by user, this user, this user, this user, this user. And that's what I mean by a community, being able to add to the app yourself. So yeah. And obviously there's going to be different like group chats and like specific things where people can explain more of Safar, like with their own traveling. So yeah.
MashaAllah. Talking about community,
Yeah.
you yourself, you're Somalian, born in, I don't,
Yeah.
either in Somalia or UK, but you're
Yes.
UK Somalian. I realized, I mean, I came across, they had this group, I don't know if it was just specific to the UK or worldwide, where they have Somalis in tech. Have you heard about
Yeah.
it?
Yeah. I've been to a few events.
Okay. And what would you say is the importance of the community buildings, particularly in entrepreneurship, whether it's with Muslims or your ethnicity or just in general, of being around like-minded people?
So Somali tech, alhamdulillah, even though like I'm not really close to it as much as I wish I could be, Somali tech is, for me, is like an amazing initiative created by an amazing group of people. And they really just focus on bringing people into tech and allowing Somalis to flourish within tech. As you said, it's not only in the UK, it's in countries all around the world. It's in the UAE, it's in America, Canada. Uh, yeah, those are the countries. So I think they've done one in Scandinavia. And yeah, it's just a place where people can share ideas and just allow other people to flourish and seek help and gain opportunities. They post so much different stuff, whether it's job opportunities, whether it's a show and tell. They have like some sort of Slack where there's so many different channels,
Mm.
and you're able to post any idea, post jobs, post any sort of resource that benefits the members of the group chat. And yeah, man, I think it's an amazing, beautiful initiative.
Yeah, I really liked it because I think, Somalians are everywhere, right?
Yeah.
And I think you have these two stereotypes. You have the Somalian that's, you know, Hafiz, he knows all the
Yeah,
10
yeah,
qira'ah, and then
yeah,
you have the other stereotype where he's involved in not so good activities. And
yeah,
then
yeah,
obviously you have people between. I don't mean to stereotype, but I
yeah,
think the importance of, and
yeah,
it makes you grow as a person. Uh,
yeah.
just your personal experiences, other than I would say the traditional destinations. If you're going back home to Somalia or Umrah in Saudi Arabia, what has been your top three countries that you went to? How was that experience?
So just to build on your point about like gaining wisdom, there was a time I went to a place called Spain, and I went to south
Yeah,
of Spain.
I've heard of it. Yeah.
So there's an area called Andalusia, and for me, it's my favorite place in Europe. The way how beautiful it is, Malaga,
Mm.
Nerja, Sevilla, um, Granada. There's so much like in the area Islamic presence that you wouldn't believe that you'd see in Western Europe.
Yeah,
So as you said, I gained so much wisdom about like
history,
uh,
right?
about just history, Islamic history, the presence of Islam in Europe, how it just Andalusia expanded. in the Iberian Peninsula, and then like the history with the Romans and the Goths and everything, and just studying that. There's a very nice YouTube video. I think the guy is called Omar.
Mm.
I don't know his full name, but his name's Omar. So just Brad and Lucia Omar, he really explains it very well. And just learning, just traveling and gaining so much wisdom. There's so much knowledge out there. And yeah, like the Sahabas and everyone, they used to travel just to gain knowledge. So Safar is just, it's not only about leisure, it's about just traveling, whether to see different cultures, to see like different different sceneries, different seeking different type of knowledge. So yeah, alhamdulillah, we're just trying to push people out of their comfort zone, being comfortable within that, with that outside their comfort zone.
Mashallah.
So
So
yeah.
what's your top three? You didn't answer that yet.
Oh yeah, so my top three is Vietnam. Okay, if I take Umrah outside of it,
Yeah, yeah, obviously.
I can't.
Yeah,
Umrah's number one, but
yeah,
it's
yeah.
not unfair to compare them. Okay, my top three is Vietnam number one.
Okay.
Number one. I don't think I need to think about number one. Number two is hard, man. It's actually very hard. I'd say Egypt.
Mm.
Egypt, because that was my first time traveling. Egypt, I wouldn't say the country itself is the most beautiful country. I'd say the people are one of the most beautiful people. And
Mashallah.
I think just being able to just connect with them and fully immersing myself within the Egyptian culture, they're one of the most unserious people I've ever met. Like you just go there just to have a laugh. Like
Yeah,
they're amazing people, generally the most kind people, very like welcoming, and it was amazing. So I put them second, and third, it's hard, man. Because there's notable mentions out there. There's the Austrians. I really liked Germany because Germany had a big Turkish and
yeah, yeah.
Arab
They have good food, right?
influence there. Yeah, they have good food as well. Um, I think third might have to be. It's between Spain and France.
You liked
France.
France?
I've already spoken about Spain. South of France
Yeah,
is one of the most
yeah,
beautiful places I've ever been. There's a place called Verdon Gouges where I went in 2022. Oh man, one of the most beautiful sceneries I've ever seen. We went to like places like Nice, um, Monaco, and all of these. Monaco's his own country, but I don't.
yeah,
Yeah, it's basically a part of France, to be honest. Um, we went to all these different places, and bro, it was amazing. Turkey is also a big mention. I'd
yeah, no
say
doubt.
I can't put in my top three because I really didn't like Istanbul personally. But there's a place I went to called Cappadocia,
Yeah,
a hot air balloon.
the hot air balloon.
That,
Yeah,
that's probably top three most beautiful places I've been to. But as a country, I wouldn't put them in my top three. So my top three is Vietnam, Egypt,
why
and
Vietnam? Because a person asks like, what is a light skinned Somalian brother from UK appreciating Vietnam? You know what I mean?
Vietnam, man. Okay. So I'll give you a bit of story about Vietnam for me. Vietnam, I studied it during school. It's the American Vietnam War, right? There's a
Right,
book
right,
on
yeah,
it. And that's what made me interested in the whole concept of like modern history.
mm,
Even though I really liked history, I didn't go through with the through
like
educational route.
traditional, right?
But yeah, but I really liked it as a hobby. I really loved history. And Vietnam, the story of Vietnam, how in the UK we say that Vietnam beat America. Um,
Yeah, I think that's
so
accepted.
yeah, so just like the resilience and of the Vietnamese people, just learning their culture and how they went through all that they went through, and being able to defeat the Americans really like gained an interest of me. And I always wanted to visit it. However, I didn't really understand how beautiful of a country itself is. So, so there was a time where me and my friends we were on a website called Google Flights,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and if you know the feature on Google Flights, you can scroll up around the world, and it shows you different flight prices. So we were in Southeast Asia, and we saw that flight to Vietnam was like £450. And we were like, wow, that is amazing. So we took that. So I just said, I convinced all the boys, they wanted to go to Thailand and stuff. I was like, bro, we need to go Vietnam. I don't care. I don't care about any other country. I need to go Vietnam. So we clicked on it and we went, and forget about history, which is like a big part of why I went. Country is just amazing in terms of, it's like a proper hustle and bustle country.
Mm,
There's like motorbikes everywhere. I like a country that shows its culture. And yeah, how I promote Vietnam is just showing you pictures, man. The mountain ranges, like the scootering through all these different routes, and like the rivers, and just the people, and how Islam is there. It's not really that prominent, to be honest, but like we saw Vietnamese Muslims, which I never knew existed personally, and it was just eye-opening, man. I was just having the time of like an amazing time with my friends there, and it's so cheap. Genuinely, as someone that has a British pound, I would I I was living in a penthouse for £70 for a week. 70 great British pounds. I was living in a penthouse. Like, I was living life, and like I wasn't
paying that much, yeah.
oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So exactly. So it's just for me, it's just, if you're an adventurous person, I'd say like a very adventurous person, recommend you go Vienna, because it's just amazing. So yeah.
Yeah, subhanAllah, I think, I mean, like you said, when you travel, you experience things firsthand, right? Even though
Yeah.
you read it in the books, whether it was the Vietnam War or Andalus in Cordoba or anywhere like Germany, World War II. It's like, man, bro, in this air, this event occurred, and it's like,
Yeah.
I'm just a human, and things are going. It's very inspiring if you
Yeah.
go in the real world. But
Understood.
that's what travel should be. Obviously, like food is there, and a lot of people make it about uh you know eating. I would say it's more rewarding when you go there with a purpose, and you get more out of it. It builds you as a person.
100%. Yeah. I remember I was going there and I was seeing communism, like communist flags everywhere. And
Because
like
there's two,
Ho Chi
right? There's
Minh as well.
there's South and North, right?
But they're all united. It's all the same. So
Oh,
North Vietnam and South Vietnam. So yeah, it's basic. They're all the same now. It's a whole communist country. I was seeing more communist flags than Vietnamese flags. And
cool.
to me, I was like, this is like things I was reading in books.
Yeah,
So it was crazy. Yeah.
yeah, mashallah. I want to get more into the last part of the app where you wanted to make it more of a community than an app. What's the
Yeah.
is it a tactic to drive growth or to keep people more engaged? What was the reasoning behind that?
So as of right now, there isn't really more of like a feed, but what that for me, what the original plan was, like to have in Safar, was like a whole feed where you can post pictures, etc. But we kind of altered
Oh,
that
like a social media.
for,
Yeah.
yeah, like a social media. But we altered that because we believed that it was driving away from the main concept of being a
Mm,
travel advisory app. So we stuck to reviews, which is a big thing, where under every single attraction, there is more of a detailed review, being able to post pictures, commenting under it, liking it, like explaining your time there, and creating a community. How I'd say is just being able to put in different, because the database is designed by us. We added a feature where you could put in your own recommendations. Let's say there isn't something on the app, because we filter it through. There's different recommendations or things that really like other users really liked, and it would be like we'd add it on the app, and it would be like inspired by user this person, so they
Uh,
can create their own itineraries.
I
You
see that.
can have like hot itinerary plans. So let's say country X, there's already a built itinerary by user, this user, this user, this user, this user. And that's what I mean by a community, being able to add to the app yourself. So, so yeah. And obviously there's going to be different like group chats and like specific things where people can explain more of Safar, like with their own traveling. So yeah.
MashaAllah. Talking about community,
Yeah.
you yourself, you're Somalian, born in, I don't,
Yeah.
either in Somalia or UK, but you're
Yes.
UK Somalian. I realized, I mean, I came across, they had this group, I don't know if it was just specific to the UK or worldwide, where they have Somalis in tech. Have you heard about
Yeah.
it?
Yeah. I've been to a few events.
Okay. And what would you say is the importance of the community buildings, particularly in entrepreneurship, whether it's with Muslims or your ethnicity or just in general, of being around like-minded people?
So Somali with tech, alhamdulillah, even though like I'm not really close to it as much as I wish I could be, Somali tech is for me is like an amazing initiative created by an amazing group of people. And they really just focus on bringing people into tech and allowing Somalis to flourish within tech. Um, as you as you said, it's not only in the UK, it's in countries all around the world. It's in the UAE, it's in America, Canada. Uh, yeah, those are the countries. And so I think they've done one in Scandinavia. And yeah, it's just a place where people can share ideas and just allow other people to flourish and seek help and gain opportunities. They post so much different stuff, whether it's job opportunities, whether it's a show and tell. They have like some sort of Slack where there's so many different channels,
Mm.
and you're able to post any idea, post jobs, post any sort of resource that benefits the members of the group chat. And yeah, man, I think it's an amazing, beautiful initiative.
Yeah, I really liked it because I think, Somalians are everywhere, right?
Yeah.
And I think you have these two stereotypes. You have the Somalian that's, you know, Hafiz, he knows all the
Yeah,
10
yeah,
qira'ah. And then
yeah,
you have the other stereotype where he's involved in not so good activities. And
yeah,
then
yeah,
obviously you have people between. Well, I don't mean to stereotype, but I
yeah,
think the importance of what I want to get to is establishing the right role models, right?
yeah,
Because when you're immigrants and you come into a new country, whether it's the States, Canada, or UK, there's a lot of influences, and you want to make sure that the right role models are there, whether it's religious or being successful in the dunya. And
yeah.
how do you see yourself, like, I would say, influencing other people in the East African region?
Um, for me, I don't want to, in terms of influencing, I try to be as best as I can be as a Muslim to please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And in terms of like role models and influences, I'd rather like pe- people not look at me, but look at teachers of the Prophet ﷺ, and I think those are the
that's the standard,
Sahabas,
right?
those are the standards. But
Right.
from a dunya and perspective, there's so many people that have established themselves. Take it for example, the founder of um, what's it, Somalis in tech. His name's Abshir, very good brother. And meeting people like him inspired me to go into tech because seeing other Somalis go into it made me realize it's possible. So if someone looked at me creating Safar, traveling, being able to be into tech, I would hope that it would inspire them to the way I looked at elder people that inspired me. So I wouldn't say that I'm a role model. I've got a lot of like areas
We
that
all
I
do,
need to
right?
in
Yeah,
terms of like I'm not like the
we
best
all
of
do.
software engineers. I'm still
Yeah.
in like I'm still in the beginning phases. So the Safar is just for me. For me building Safar was for me to prove to myself that I can be a software engineer as well. That was another angle of it. So if people look at Safar from someone that came from a chemical engineering degree, transitioned to software engineering and created a product, and they saw that journey and that inspired them, then I'd be amazed. That'd be great. That'd be great to hear. So I hope it inspires people. But I would say that there's so many other role models within the Somali community. Alhamdulillah, we're right now enriched with so many amazing people with so many different ideas. I really think that Somalis in general are in a good position right now compared to what it was 20 years ago. So, alhamdulillah, initiatives like Somalis in tech, and there's so many different other ones. Somalis in project management, Somalis in engineering, Somalis in architecture, Somalis in energy. There's so many Somalis in
Yeah.
something that it just shows that Somalis in general and Muslims, to be honest, we're in a great place, right, alhamdulillah, in terms of education and in terms of like career. So it's just about getting better and growing these initiatives more and being more like accessible to Muslims. There's Muslim makers as well. There's Dean engineers. There's something called Dean engineers that is a
Dean
Somalis in
developers,
tech.
right?
Yeah, Dean developers, Dean
Yeah.
engineers. There's so many Muslim initiatives that just
Yeah.
shows, alhamdulillah, Muslims are in a good place right now and in the West. So alhamdulillah. So it's amazing.
There's no doubt about that. And I think it's our as every generation goes on, it's just you have to build upon it. And may
Yeah.
Allah put
Yeah.
barakah and give us tawfiq. One thing I wanted to touch on about just your software experience.
Yeah.
Um, with the rise of AI the past year and the past year and a half, you've seen a lot of AI tools, right? I've seen some young people in college, they're like, there's no